Scary office horror story. Jennifer Walsh had been working at Meridian Financial Services for 3 months when she first heard about the 7th floor. It came up during a casual conversation in the break room when she mentioned needing to retrieve old files from the archives. "Oh, you don't want to go up there alone," her coworker Tom said, his voice dropping, "especially not after hours." Jennifer laughed. "Why? Is it haunted or something?" The break room went quiet. Tom exchanged glances with the other employees, and Jennifer realized they weren't joking. The 7th floor has been empty for 5 years, her manager Sarah finally explained. Used to be executive offices, but after the incident, they moved everyone down. Now it's just storage and old files. The company keeps meaning to renovate it, but... She trailed off. But what? Jennifer pressed. "But people hear things up there," Tom said. "Footsteps, voices, and anyone who goes up alone." He paused dramatically. "They come back different. Or they don't come back at all." Jennifer rolled her eyes. "Come on, you're messing with the new girl." But nobody was smiling. That night, working late on a quarterly report, Jennifer remembered the conversation. She needed files from 2018 for comparison, and Sarah had mentioned they were on the 7th floor. It was 9:47 p.m. The office was empty except for security downstairs, and Jennifer really needed those files. "Don't be ridiculous," she told herself. "It's just an empty floor." She took the elevator up, her heart beating slightly faster than normal despite her rational mind insisting this was silly. The elevator doors opened with a ding that echoed in the silence. The 7th floor was dark. Emergency lighting provided a dim glow, casting long shadows across abandoned cubicles and empty offices. The air was stale, like a room that hadn't been open in years, and several degrees colder than the rest of the building. Jennifer found the light switches, but only half of them worked, leaving portions of the floor in darkness. She consulted the directory she'd printed out and headed toward the archive room at the far end of the floor. Her footsteps on the industrial carpet seemed unnaturally loud. As she walked past empty cubicles, Jennifer noticed personal items still scattered on desks, coffee mugs, framed photos, calendars stopped on a date 5 years ago. It was like everyone had just left. She was halfway across the floor when she heard it. The distinct sound of a phone ringing. Jennifer froze. The ringing was coming from one of the offices to her right, a corner office with Director of Operations still stenciled on the frosted glass door. The phone rang 4 times, then stopped. Silence settled back over the floor. "Old phone line still connected," Jennifer muttered, though her voice sounded thin and unconvincing even to herself. She continued toward the archives, moving faster now, eager to get what she needed and leave. The archive room door was locked, but Sarah had given her the key. Jennifer fumbled with it, her hands suddenly clumsy, and when she finally got the door open, she practically fell inside. The room was larger than she expected, lined with filing cabinets and boxes of documents. Jennifer found a section marked 2018 and began searching for the specific file she needed. Behind her, the door slammed shut. Jennifer spun around, her heart leaping into her throat. She rushed to the door and tried the handle. Locked, but she hadn't locked it. She left it open deliberately. "Okay, stay calm," Jennifer said aloud, trying to control her breathing. Old building. Draft from the HVAC. Doors close on their own. Except there was no air moving. The archive room was perfectly still. Jennifer pulled out her phone to call security, but there was no signal. The screen flickered, then went dark despite having been fully charged moments ago. "Perfect," Jennifer whispered. She returned to the door and pounded on it. "Hello? Is anyone out there? I'm locked in the archive room." Footsteps answered her, Slow, deliberate footsteps in the hallway outside, moving past the door. Multiple sets of footsteps, like several people walking in formation. "Hey!" Jennifer called. "Can someone help me? I'm locked in here." The footsteps stopped, right outside the door. Jennifer pressed her ear against it, listening. She could hear breathing, not just one person, but several people, all breathing in perfect unison. In, out, in, out. "Who's there?" Jennifer asked, her voice cracking. A voice answered from the other side of the door, male, flat, emotionless. "It's 9:47. Time to clock out." "What?" "No, I'm not. I'm just getting files." "Can you unlock the door?" "It's 9:47, the voice repeated. "Time to clock out." Other voices joined in, all speaking in that same flat monotone. "Time to clock out. Time to clock out. Time to clock out." The chanting continued, growing louder, and Jennifer backed away from the door. Through the small window, she could see shadows moving. People standing in the hallway, but their proportions were wrong. Too tall, too thin, movements too stiff and mechanical. The overhead lights in the archive room began to flicker. In the strobing light, Jennifer saw something that made her stomach drop. Names carved into the walls. Dozens of names, scratched into the drywall what looked like fingernails. And at the bottom of the list, still being carved by an invisible hand, a name was appearing letter by letter. JNNIFERWLSH. Jennifer screamed and threw herself at the door, pounding and kicking. "Let me out! Please! Somebody help me!" The chanting outside grew louder. "Time to clock out! Time to clock out! Time to clock out!" Then, suddenly, silence. Jennifer pressed her ear to the door again. Nothing. No footsteps, no voices, no breathing. Just absolute silence. Slowly, carefully, Jennifer tried the door handle. It turned. The door opened. The hallway was empty. Completely empty. No sign that anyone had been there. Jennifer ran. She ran past the cubicles, past the offices, toward the elevator. Behind her, she heard sounds starting up again. Computer keyboards typing. Phones ringing. Voices murmuring, as if the entire floor had come alive with workers who weren't there. The elevator seemed impossibly far away. As Jennifer ran, the office sound grew louder, more insistent. She could hear conversations now. Overlapping voices discussing reports and deadlines and quarterly projections, all in that same flat, lifeless tone. She reached the elevator and jabbed the call button repeatedly. The doors opened immediately, and Jennifer threw herself inside, hitting the button for the ground floor. As the doors began to close, Jennifer saw them. Dozens of figures emerging from offices and cubicles, all wearing business attire from 5 years ago, all with gray skin and empty eyes, all moving toward the elevator with that same mechanical gait. The elevator doors closed just as the first figure reached out a hand toward her. Jennifer collapsed against the elevator wall, gasping, her whole body shaking. The elevator descended. 7, 6, 5, 4. Her phone suddenly buzzed to life, making her jump. Text messages flooded in, all sent hours ago from people wondering where she was. And one new message from an unknown number. "Now you know why we don't go to the 7th floor." The elevator reached the ground floor. The doors opened to the lobby, where the night security guard sat reading a newspaper. "You okay, miss?" he asked, looking up. "You look like you've seen a ghost." Jennifer wanted to tell him everything, but when she opened her mouth, the words wouldn't come. Instead, she just nodded and walked quickly toward the exit. She made it to her car before the shaking became so bad she had to sit down. She sat in the parking lot for 20 minutes, trying to process what had happened, trying to convince herself it had been stress or exhaustion or some kind of hallucination, but she knew it hadn't been. The next morning, Jennifer went straight to Sarah's office and quit. She didn't give 2 weeks' notice, didn't care about the recommendation letter, just wanted out of that building. "I understand," Sarah said quietly. "You went to the 7th floor last night, didn't you?" Jennifer nodded, still unable to speak about it. Sarah sighed. "You're the 3rd person this year. The incident 5 years ago, a fire in the executive suite. 19 people died. They were working late, trying to meet a deadline, when the fire broke out. The sprinklers malfunctioned. The doors locked electronically and the system failed. They all died at 9:47 p.m. Why didn't anyone tell me?" Jennifer whispered, "Would you have believed us if we had? Everyone has to learn for themselves." Sarah paused. "The ones who come back. Anyway, some people go up there, and we never see them again. We file missing persons reports, but they never find bodies. It's like they just stay there." Jennifer thought of the names carved into the archive room wall. People who hadn't come back. People who had clocked out, but never clocked back in. She cleaned out her desk and left Meridian Financial Services that day. She found a new job in a new building, a place with no history and no 7th floor. But sometimes, at exactly 9:47 p.m., Jennifer's phone receives a text from that unknown number. Time to clock out. And every time, Jennifer is thankful she's not still in that building, not still on that 7th floor, not still trying to explain to those gray-skinned figures that she's just trying to do her job. Because on the 7th floor of Meridian Financial Services, it's always 9:47 p.m. It's always time to clock out. And the workers there are always waiting for someone new to join them. Jennifer never goes to her office after hours anymore, never works late, never volunteers to retrieve files from old archives, because she knows now what her co-workers try to warn her about. Some overtime isn't worth it. Some places have rules for good reasons, and some floors should stay empty, no matter how badly you need those files. The 7th floor still waits, dim and cold and full of workers who will never go home. Still waits for the next person who doesn't believe in ghost stories, who thinks they're above silly superstitions, who just needs to retrieve one thing, and will only be a minute, just long enough to clock out, permanently